to devalue their currency, Bitcoin wins. In the world of fiat currencies, Bitcoin is the victor.
I mean, that's part of the bull case for Bitcoin.
If you're not paying attention, you probably should be.
Want to allow them to easily trade between different exchanges. There's a lock-in effect there, right?
Yeah, well, Matt started a TFTC Matrix channel. That
I just shotgunned it.
Yeah, I started another
But
one.
Marty, you should join it. I sent you the link.
Yeah, I got to figure that out.
We had the freaks are loving it. They're having TFTC.chat freaks.
Is there any nudes in there yet?
Are there any nudes?
Yeah.
No, we have a good moderator that is making sure.
Carr was just like, yeah, there's nudes.
Did he just upload nudes?
No, that's what, please don't send nudes to the Matrix chat.
We have moderators, so it is not censored at all.
All right, I'll get in there. I got to get the link. Yeah,
the link is tftc.chat, Marty.
tftc.chat. Matt, I want you to put your right ear to your right shoulder, if you can, please, right now.
I can't do
Yeah.
that.
Oh, shit. This is a tight rip. We're almost an hour and a half in. We're on our last topic, which is the fact, let's pull these comments up. I put in our TFTC chat car between me, you, and Matt, the tweet of Jen Psaki talking about why inflation is high, particularly as it pertains to beef inflation. Let's just roll the tape, and then we'll
roll the clip.
We'll talk about it.
Go ahead.
There are several progressive groups and lawmakers who are increasingly vocalizing the idea that high inflation is being driven by corporate greed, including companies with high profits, some of whom have met at the White House with the president in recent months. Does the president endorse that idea? Does he think that corporate greed is the big driver of inflation right now?
Well, I think that the president thinks the way people across the country, American families, digest inflation is by price increases. And if you look at industry to industry, it's a little different. So, for example, the president, the Secretary of Agriculture have both spoken to what we've seen as the greed of meat conglomerates. That is an area where people go to the grocery store and they're trying to buy a pound of meat, 2 pounds of meat, 10 pounds of meat. The prices are higher. That is, in his view, and the view of our Secretary of Agriculture, because of, you could call it corporate greed, sure. You could call it jacking up prices during a pandemic. There are other areas where we've seen increases because of supply chain issues, and we're seeing those increases around the world as it relates to gas prices, oil supply, and things along those lines. So I would say there's some areas where we have seen corporations profit from the pandemic, and certainly the president would agree with that component. I don't know the full context of all of their remarks.
This is dangerous. This is dangerous talk right here. I mean, Rodolfo, he's the one who brought it to light. You gotta go to NBK's Twitter page. But like, this is how the rhetoric starts that leads to very dangerous, like, communist
price fixing. Seeking wealth.
So this is inflate. Obviously, this podcast focuses heavily on macroeconomics, inflation, money, and what we've seen over the last 2 years is the government print, in conjunction with the Federal Reserve, trillions of dollars, and throw that on the market at the same time, shutting down the economy and forcing workers to stay home from work, and airdropping money in their bank accounts, where they're then able to go out into the economy and use more and more monetary units to fight over less and less economic goods, because again, you're trying to exert top-down control in a very complex system, which is the economy of a government. Keep going down, Carr.
I would just say I definitely agree with what you just said. In this current situation, there's probably a mix of both. You know, the money is broken. The economy is poorly managed. Free markets ultimately fix this as frictionless as possible for those free markets to exist. The better. They will find their real price. Competition does work. In the case of food production in this country, it's not really a true free market. So that's why I would say that there is a little bit of a combination there. And this is one of the reasons why it's
Yeah.
so important for more localism to take place, for more small time food production to take place.
I completely
so that we
agree.
can have proper competition, without that regulatory burden that leads to these, small, closely held industries.
Well, this is why it's so fucked up, is because the government has led to this consolidation of business,
Right,
particularly in like the food processing
Being
range.
nuanced.
It's like on top, like, and so this is a problem they've created. Then they're turning around and like blaming these people. And on top of that, so like at these processing plants, you have very strict COVID regulations, which stops people from enough people from getting to them to produce the amount of food necessary to get to the economy. These vax mandates are basically decimating that workforce, where people say, I'm not going to get it, so I'm not going to go to work. Therefore, it compounds the problem. And like Rodolfo said, this was Stalin's line. It is the excuse used to take over the farms. This is how tens of millions of people starved in the Soviet Union due to this type of central planning. So they're trying to gin up a bunch of hatred throughout the economy between people who don't really understand the intricacies and the nuance of what has led to these price increases, and they're trying to point at the greedy like meat producers as the problem, when it's really government regulation and printing money and attempted top-down control of the complex economy that we live in. This is scary shit. Like the president and the people who speak on behalf of him should not be saying this type of stuff. This is a very dangerous road they're going down. And another thing that should be said too, this started with Trump. Like Trump started the lockdowns. He started the economic lockdowns and the money printing started in his administration. This is bipartisan. It's from one administration to another. The problem is the government. Like it's fucking everything up. And now that they fucked everything up, they have no decency to even like attempt to take blame for it or own up to their mistakes and have the introspection to look back and say, hey, maybe we shouldn't have shut down the global economy. Maybe we shouldn't have printed all that money. Maybe we shouldn't have forced people to stay home from work. Maybe we shouldn't be mandating these vaccines when we really need to get more and more goods to the economy. Like maybe we fucked up, hand up. No, they're not doing that. And if you actually had a government...
No responsibility.
No, none. It's fucking disgusting. But it is dangerous. Like I really want to stress that. Like if they continue down this line of thinking and keep beating this drum, industry, and the masses are ginned up, and they're going to turn. They're going to be like, yes, you guys should. The government should take over the food industry, and that's going to lead to mass starvation.
Secure your food, freaks.
Secure your food, freaks. Just recorded with Texas Slim. We talked about ways in which you can do that. Go shake your local rancher's hand and really push. Again, and that's the thing I said with Slim earlier. You freaks listening to this too, like push these issues. Like there should be more processing plants. We shouldn't have 4 massive processing plants that constrict the flow of our food. There should be many more. There should be hundreds. There should be thousands throughout the country. You should have a processing plant per county. Like the regulations around the restrictions and the compliance necessary to start one of these plants is completely criminal. Like people should be able to process meat locally and distribute it locally, which should drive down cost, which should make a more distributed food network, which should make us more secure in the long run. Like this is
That's the answer right there.
Yeah.
It's right there in front of us, freaks.
And that's the other thing like Slim and I got onto too, and it was building on what SAFE does in the fiat standard, where he applies like Bitcoin thinking to the traditional monetary system. Like what is a full node? What does the full node topography look like in the fiat monetary system? You have very few full nodes with the Federal Reserve and its member banks, which might not even be full nodes. They might just be some like SPV client or something like that. But like with the food stuff too, like you have 4 major nodes in the processing industry, and that is very centralizing. Like we want hundreds, we want more and more and more of these processing plants, excuse me. That will make us more more food secure. And similar with energy, we want more and more. That's actually one thing we do well here. We have a bunch of energy producers, however, with the federal mandates to, particularly in oil and gas, which don't allow new mineral leases on federal lands. That's constricting supply from the market too, which is causing energy prices to rise. It's happening in Europe, all over the world. Like we live in a clown world. These people are fucking ruining the global economy right in front of our eyes. It's happening, and they're trying to blame anybody but themselves. They're not taking any responsibility for this. It's really fucked up, and it's really dangerous. If we don't begin speaking out against this and pushing back, things are going to get very, very bad. And we do have the ability to do that. That's why we have this show. That's why we have you freaks in the live stream. This is why we do all of this. Like, we need to get these messages out there. I wish I could give you a massage through the camera.
Cheers.
Yeah. No homo. Yeah. When TFTC chickens in the backyard? That's a good question. I have to figure out, can we do that in Austin?
Yes.
Okay.
You can do that wherever.
You can't do it in PA. You have to get like
Maybe
crazy.
not
You
wherever.
have to get crazy
And
permits.
maybe not in the Northeast in a lot of places.
Yeah.
But you can definitely do it in Austin.
No, I know my hometown. I do know somebody has chickens in their backyard, but they literally had to like go to a crazy amount of like township meetings and get crazy permitting just to have a few chickens in the backyard.
I mean, at most places in Texas, I assume you can just have chickens in your front yard. You don't even have to have them in your backyard.
All right, we're gonna get some chickens. Let's get some chickens. Guard chickens.
Yeah, just put some chickens in your fucking backyard. Like, don't ask permission, Marty.
Okay.